Hi, I'm Pat Baer. This is Pat Baer's Anime Club. It's an ongoing video series about the wonderful world of anime and manga and light novels and visual novels. I talked about that before. Basically anything anime related that I want to chat with you about comes out every 2 weeks. And previously, not too many episodes ago, and it'll be linked in the show description below, I talked about some of the worst anime filler, either arcs or single episodes, just like real bad stuff that makes you think like, do they even know what the source material is? What's going on here? But here's the thing. There's good anime filler out there. I talked about it, and I want to talk about it here because I have more bad to talk about, but I don't want to always just be negative. So let's talk about some good anime filler. In this case, we'll look at a couple arcs and a couple single episodes. Most of them are humorous, I should say, and kind of break up what's going on there. In the show description below, you'll see a link, as I said, to the previous episode where I talked about the bad, and you can kind of compare the two if you'd like. And then in the comments below, let me know if you liked any of this filler, or maybe if it was something you didn't even know this was filler, because in one case, it sort of becomes canon. Because that's the thing about bad filler, is that even if it's like mid or whatever, it never gets referenced again, for good or bad. Like, it happens, and then because they're moving on and adapting the light novel or manga or video game, I guess, they don't go back. Generally, anime doesn't go back and reference its own filler. It tends to just exist and then disappear, because at the very least, they're not going to talk about it in the light novel. They're not going to talk about it on the manga. It just exists there. And we'll talk about in one instance where it ended up back into the source material because it was so good. We'll talk about it again. But let's start with an arc. We'll begin with an arc here. Let me just click right there. Great. Here we go. This is Hunter x Hunter. This is the Zoldyck family arc. Killua Zoldyck. This is I love this photo. This is the family photo here with the mother and all the kids. You might not know that this is filler, but it is. This is after the Hunter exam arc, before the next arc, and it is just thrown in there, these episodes to explore Killua and his relationship with his family, to introduce some characters that we'll see later, and there had been so much manga at that point that they could pull from information, but these actual scenes weren't in there. I think it was explained later, and maybe the scene with him and his dad is canon, or at least manga canon, but the rest of this is just created. We get to a look at Killua, who is one of the, if not the most interesting characters in Hunter x Hunter, and we also get something that we don't otherwise really ever get in Hunter x Hunter, which is backstory and exploration of family dynamics. We know that Gon's mother is dead. Gon's aunt, his mother's sister, raised him, and we know that his father is a hunter and out there. And until really late in the manga, or really late in the anime at least, we don't really know too much about him. Like, we don't know too much about Gon's dad. Kurapika, we actually don't know anything about his family except that they are all gone. His clan is gone. That is what we know. That is his driving force. But like, fun flashbacks, we don't get those. We know that Leorio is trying to take care of someone family or friend related. That's why he's becoming a doctor. I'm actually, myself personally, a little sketchy on that. My apologies. But they don't delve too much into it. This is fairly early in the anime, and we're looking at this family dynamic, which will become very important, not just to Killua, but to really the whole of the anime. The Zoldyck clan is super important to the ongoing narratives within Hunter x Hunter. And so we get a good deep dive in there. And it's just like good, right? It's just good stuff. And there might be a few things that have to get retconned or ignored, but for the most part, it's pretty dang solid. So yeah, that's good anime filler. Here's a good filler episode that maybe you could see from a mile away, that episode 127 of Inuyasha was filler. I don't think that you would say, oh, I'm sure this isn't the manga, because it's not. It's a one episode where Inuyasha goes through the well to the present Japan, and in this instance, plays around with a cat, interacts with some people that he wouldn't know otherwise, meets some of the family, and we get more Inuyasha and Kagome, like hints at a more relationship, if not actual scenes of them developing tighter bonds. And it's just fun. It's just fun to see this like half demon, half human deal with like all this stuff. Maybe appreciate Kagome's fish out of water a little bit more. Maybe, perhaps. And it's just silly and light. This is the good stuff. This is a scene, or this is an episode where you don't have to reference it. Like, yeah, maybe it would be nice to be like, oh, well, where she's from? Nah, you don't want to go there, or something like that. But you don't really need to know about this when you're talking about, later episodes. Like, this doesn't have to be something that gets mentioned. Again, one of the issues with filler is it just lives and then it doesn't anymore. So it's not trying to change the plot dramatically. It's just trying to be a fun episode. And in my opinion, it succeeds at being a very fun episode. Let's get into the little bit of filler that actually changes the game. Episode 32 of My Hero Academia, the internships. Now, in the manga, they're all out on internships, and we know that, and there are some scenes about it, but this episode fills in the blanks and fills in the backstory a bit, looking at some of the other classmates and what they're up to. And it's really good. It's a really good episode of My Hero Academia. Especially the Froppy scenes are just really great, because that's a character that is just beloved. She's just a fan favorite, manga only, manga and anime only. People love Froppy. She's great. That is an S tier My Hero Academia character. So her hanging out with her boss there, the hero that she is studying under with her internship, and also some of the other heroes in that crew, is just really fun. And the thing about it, where you're like, Pat, but I've read the manga, those characters are in the manga. Yes. This is filler that's so good it becomes canon. That Sirius and Selkie, I think I'm saying Selkie right, I can't remember, I'm sorry, are so great that they show up in the manga. So even these scenes aren't manga canonical, the characters are. They're so great that people are like, I mean, what if they are real? They're real to me. And yeah, if you're anime only, this episode just feels like it's right out of the manga. It's really fun, dramatic, but it fills out the world a bit. And because they become canonical, then they are canonical in the anime later, and you can see them again, which is awesome. And it's just like it's proof that when people talk about being, like an anime ruining it or speeding through content too fast, a lot of times when we talk about light novels have a lot of thoughts and feelings that you don't get in an anime adaptation, because internal dialogue and internal monologues, I should say, don't often translate well into the anime medium. So you lose out in a lot of stuff, or like long paragraphs describing how commerce works in that world may not translate, right? And so people say like, oh, we skipped it. Oh, they cut that. Oh, they truncated this. Sometimes the other way can happen, where you can be so good that it ends up in the source material, or it's so good that it just fits like it belongs. In this case, the internships really do stand out. It's some of the best work they did in the My Hero Academia filler, in my opinion. Again, this is all my opinion. You could disagree, and you can let me know in the comments if you do disagree, because I'll read it. I read the comments. I might not respond to it. I might think you're wrong, but I'll read it. Let's talk about an arc. Okay, so One Piece has really bad filler. Let's be real. One Piece has a lot of filler. One Piece has filler that I haven't even talked about here, which is expanding a chapter with flashbacks and useless information. There are multiple episodes of One Piece that are based on a single chapter of a manga, where there's like several pages of one chapter of a manga, and then like a bunch of flashbacks, and sometimes new information, sometimes just recaps. One Piece is notorious for its recap episodes and also filler arcs. It's been on for so long. There were breaks, obviously, but they got to throw in some stuff. The G8 filler arc is, in my opinion, great because it's early on enough that it doesn't matter they don't mention it ever again because nothing super important happens, but it's really fun. And that's really important to me anyway, with a filler arc being okay to see, is that it's super fun. We are seeing one of the best scenes, a snippet here, the best scene in this arc, which is Stealth Luffy, who is seemingly aware of the camera, which he does occasionally, but this is really pronounced. Basically, the whole arc, I think it's I wrote it down here, 11 episodes of them. The Straw Hats are separated, and they've got to get back together, get back on the Going Merry, and escape and continue their journey. It's really silly. There's lots of Marines there. They're not important, but we get to see all the characters interact with each other a little bit and go on their own ways, and it's great for character development, which we didn't really get because it's all the Straw Hats at the time. And as I said, it doesn't matter that this is never referenced again. There is a people mentioned there. I forget the name of it. My apologies. There is an early arc about a girl and a dragon that people love. It's filler. I forget what the fans call that arc, but it's great and it doesn't get mentioned again because it's filler. But it's like a fun character that it would be neat to see in, like, how's she doing now? How's the dragon doing now? How are these characters? They can't run into each other, but we could have them reading the newspaper and seeing Luffy's bounty and being proud of him or whatever. But you can't because it's filler and it's not in the manga, so it's not going to show up. They would have to go out of their way to add it, and maybe they would, but they probably won't. But we don't have to worry about that with the G8 arc. Who cares what happened here? It's mostly just characters being fun and silly, and we get to see it. So it stands up, and it's good. You could do without it, but that's also, honestly, in many ways, a benefit because it means that by not referencing it again, it doesn't hurt the product down the line. It's just good times. If you were like trying to be manga only, you would skip this and you wouldn't really miss it. But if you did skip it, it's fun and you probably should go back and take a look at it. Okay, we have to talk about the last one here. This is when people talk about good filler episodes. There are people of my generation, maybe even a little older than me, maybe even a little younger than me, that are going to talk about this episode. It's not in Dragon Ball Kai, but it is in regular Dragon Ball Z. Episode 125. Yeah, Goku's Dilemma. It's the episode where Goku and Piccolo have to learn to drive a car. This is probably based on a couple covers of Dragon Ball Z with that is similar, of the idea of Goku driving. There is art that Gohan does of Piccolo and Goku driving that is kind of reminiscent of that manga cover. That might be where it's inspired. Basically, the Trunks saga ends, the training arc of the Trunks saga ends, and then it's getting into the Android saga. So we're getting into that saga. Trunks will appear again, but future Trunks went back to his timeline, and now we've got, and he's stronger. He's going to go take care of his business, but now we've got an opportunity to be silly. The premise of this episode is, of course, that Goku and Piccolo have to get their driver's license because Chi-Chi is tired of walking. Now, Chi-Chi can ride Nimbus and has ridden Nimbus. That's manga accurate. In the anime, and also Chi-Chi can drive and has been driving. So, because she could just get her license, right? But she's just like, I'm tired of cleaning clothes and cooking and doing all this other stuff, and you can't even drive me anywhere. You have to get a license. And then Piccolo gets roped into it because he also doesn't have a license, and it's fun. And the episode ends with them both failing the test, but their instructors are like, you can fly though. That's way better. It's way better. And then also Goku does drive. I believe in Super he drives a truck. So eventually he does figure out how to drive. He might not have a license. And in Dragon Ball Superhero, Piccolo, there's a complaint about Piccolo driving, and he's like, oh yeah, I never did get my license. That's in the dub. I don't think it's in the original. I think that's just a dub joke. But there's one other thing I need to mention. Besides the episode just being silly and fun and well remembered by people, an episode that aired in Japan in 92, in the US in 2000, 2001, something like that. Look over here. Just look out right over here. Look at Piccolo. Piccolo is wearing some of Goku's clothes. Backwards baseball hat, a shirt that says Post Boy for some reason. These are some of Goku's chill clothes that he's borrowing because Piccolo only has one outfit. And when I say Piccolo only has one outfit, I mean in the entire length of Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super, and Dragon Ball GT, Piccolo only has one outfit. It's his Demon Warrior clothes. This is the only time that Piccolo wears something else. That could change in Daima. I'm not going to say it won't. But Piccolo only wears one thing, except for this one non-canonical filler episode of Dragon Ball Z where he tries to learn how to drive and also wears clothes that are not his one outfit. And that whips ass. Goku, we see Goku in other outfits here and there. This is silly, right? This is a silly episode. We had the badass Trunks from the future show up. We know there are going to be androids. It's a deep, we're getting some deep callbacks to Dragon Ball with the Red Ribbon Army coming in, like the remnants of the Red Ribbon Army. This is some cool stuff. But for one episode, we get a little bit of the goofiness of Dragon Ball, a really silly one for the silly friends like me. I'm a silly friend. I love it. It's so... Look, if I was... At the time, I probably didn't love it. I was probably like, but what about the androids? But I'm older, I'm wiser now, and I know this whips. This rules. It's so good. I probably saw this in a fan sub in the mid-90s, I'm going to guess, because I was in deep when it comes to Dragon Ball. And I do remember thinking, this is pretty great. And also because I was watching fan subs, I wasn't watching it week to week. So I was able to get to the Android saga where they're fighting androids that aren't the androids that Trunks knows from the future. What? Anyway, that's actually good anime filler. Actually, good anime filler exists. There's more examples of these. This is just a few. And then sometimes what's really funny is, so I did, a lot of this is me remembering, but episode numbers, stuff like that. I did some research here. I looked at some lists to give me some ideas because I also was hoping that I would find an example of something that I was like, oh, that's filler, which ended up being the My Hero Academia. I didn't know because I'm anime only. I didn't know that was filler. So that happened there. On one of these lists, I actually saw something that I had in my bad anime filler video. So like it's all relative. You could say like, oh, I hate that one because it's not serious and I was so psyched about the androids, or that One Piece arc is terrible and it shouldn't be 11 episodes, or oh yeah, that Inuyasha episode, I don't even remember that, Pat, so it couldn't have been good. To each his own. Let me know in the comments below what is some great anime filler that you really thought was solid, because I might do another one of these. I'm definitely gonna do another bad one because there's so much more, and there's so much more One Piece to dunk on when it comes to that. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. I know what my next 2 episodes of Pat Baer's Anime Club are going to be. I'm going to do my end of the year superlatives in the next video. So that's 2 weeks from the release of this video in December. And then the one that will come out around Christmas will be me taking a look at my top 10 anime for 2024. Should I wait till 2025 and really let these anime shows end? No, because there are a couple shows in the fall season that can make my top 10, but I think them actually finishing their arc, I think it's going to be okay. I think they're either going to end up in the top 10 or they're not. And I don't think that episode 11 of 12 is really going to like keep them from being in the top 10. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel close this year when it comes to that. So that'll be in December as well. And then in January, the first video of the year will be my fall wrap-up / winter preview, which I will be doing live. In fact, do I have that? I have that photo up. Do I have that photo up? No, I don't have that. I don't have that up. But anyway, this is this episode. Shocking. Yeah, I don't have that promo image done. I thought I did. But yeah, check that out when it comes out in the future. Thanks for watching this video. Check out another video on Pat Baer's Anime Club. A previous one, I said I linked the bad anime filler there as well. And I think that one turned out pretty good, so you can check that out. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'm rambling. Leave a comment, leave a like, share it with a friend. I'm still doing this series. I love it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.